I'm heading for a dirt road in my four-wheel drive. Yeah, I clocked out, I'm done. Grab that shotgun, slip off through the pines. Calling to my baby, tell her I'll be gone. I can't stick around, getting out of town. Be back when I get back home. You'll find me out there, where it's wild and free. Anywhere there's fresh air, you know I'm gonna be. Live in the wildlife, on the road, out in the woods. Yeah, man, if this ain't heaven, it's in the neighborhood. Fins, fur, or feathers, just put them in my sights. Cause I'm living the wildlife. Taking in the morning, waiting for the dawn. On a creek bank, calling Longbeard's goblin. Time to get it on. Down in the swampland, baiting up a line. If you can't see me, then I might be hiding in an old duck blind. Up on the river in the morning fog, throwing that old crankbait by Cypress log. I'm living the wildlife, I don't need no luxury. Just a fishing pole and a honey hole, or a bow up in a tree. Running up that 10-point in the early morning light. Cause I'm living the wildlife. The wildlife, that's my life. Don't ask me why, but just know that I'm.
Well, hello there, and welcome to our first real episode of Living the Wildlife with Old Bob. Not exactly where we want to be yet, but we're getting there. I kind of blotched some of the cooking videos on the food preparation part of it. You'll see that. But if you'll email me at oldboboutdoors@gmail.com, I will send you that recipe in its entirety and cover everything that I kind of messed up on that. But you know, we're glad you're with us. Glad you're joined us. I would ask you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and pass this thing around as much as you can. We're just doing this for fun, and I really enjoyed it. We had close to 500 views of our first intro, so I was real pleased with that. Or everybody tells me I should be, and I'm like, okay, I like that. You know, and some of our terminologies I'm trying to get down is like, you know, I'll say tune in. Well, that's kind of old school, and trying to change that to just join us. And email me your ideas, your questions, your comments. I had one viewer did send me a question. Could not get an exact answer on it before trying to get this out, but we will take care of it next time. And the question was, can you legally put a cable across a driveway as a gate? And we will get him an answer on that. We won't be making assumptions. I have several calls into lawmakers as well as sheriff's departments throughout the state just to try and get a response. So, you know, I can take a complaint too. I'm actually in charge of the complaint department for our hunting camp. And, you know, I think the video really went pretty good. I have a lot of Cajun ancestry in me, and I love the Cajun people. I love their ways of life, their cooking, and everything about them. So my next door neighbor, I told him, I said, hey, take a look at this and see what you think. You know, is it okay? So he watched the whole thing and kind of looked at me and said, tell you something, Shy. He said, I said, did you like it? He said, well, I'll tell you one thing, Shy. He said, I liked it more than I didn't. I guess that's good. So anyway, with that, like I said, I can take a complaint. I keep looking at my cell phone over here because my son Pelham is calling me, and I got a feeling I probably know what that's about. So I'm going to take this call, and maybe I can edit it out or something like that later. You know, anyway, we'll see.
Bob, you ain't gonna believe what Hewley's done. He didn't put no corn in the feeders. And you ain't gonna believe why. We was gonna put corn in all the feeders for the squirrels, everything during springtime. I get up here, ain't corn in a single one of these things. I asked him, I said, Hewley, why didn't you put no corn in the feeders? You went to the co-op day for yesterday, He told me, he said, well, they didn't have no corn. I said, Hewley, they got plenty of corn. I was just up there. How come you didn't get none? He said, yeah, but they didn't have no squirrel corn. It all said deer corn. That dumb son of a... Bob, are you listening to this? That man makes less sense than somebody putting rupees in a penny slot. You better call him and talk some sense into the man.
Well, with that, can we just tell? Let's just go to hunting camp and start the video, and hope you enjoy it. And I'll see if I can deal with Hewley in this situation here. So, anyway, y'all enjoy. Well, everybody, and welcome to Old Bob's hunting camp. A little bit better backdrop right here. Got us a special guest today, Mr. Ty Taylor from the lovely town of, I guess you'd call now Mobile, but previously born and raised in Moss Point, Mississippi, in that area.
That's right.
Ty is a professional musician at night, and has played with such people as, and I got to put my glasses on so y'all can see that. He has played with such people as Trace Atkins, Jeff Bates, Daryl Worley, and most recently, before COVID, opened up for a guy named Mr. Willie Nelson, which was really a joy to see that. The night before Ty was to open up for Willie, he wrote a song for Willie.
Did.
And it was well received by Willie's road crew.
It dawned on me. I said, I got to do something special for this. Actually, you're the one that told me I should do something special for it.
Well, I appreciate that. Anyway,
you didn't write the song though, but
no,
but it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for you.
I can do some inspiration, but getting it done, getting it done. Anyway, the name of the song is "She Turned Down My Willie," and is that also available for purchase? Do you
Not right now. It's going to be released later on this year, though. Yeah.
And Ty had also written the song "Living the Wildlife," which is our intro song. He performed that. I believe you performed pretty much every instrument on that, did you not?
Except drums and bass. I didn't play fiddle either.
Okay.
But all the guitars, banjo, steel, everything.
Cool. And that's available wherever you purchase your music to download or whatever. You can find that album. I strongly recommend you get it. I got a couple of good songs. One that I particularly like, other than just "Living the Wildlife," is the things that Daddy say, and that one will kind of get to you. But anyway, help my buddy Ty out since he's written and given us this song to use. Ty also has a saltwater fishing guide service, and what's the name of that?
Tying One On, Coastal Fishing.
Good, and that's located in?
Based out of Pascagoula, Moss Point. I say that. I'll run trips out of Alabama too, though, Mobile.
Okay.
But mostly we fish the Mississippi Marsh right there around Moss Point, Pascagoula, Grand Bay,
Okay, and I guess
out to the Barrier Islands.
I guess a lot of it may have an effect on what kind of state license they have on what waters you would stay in.
Yes, we're good to go in Alabama and Mississippi.
Okay, good deal. Good deal.
So we can jump back and forth, because I pretty much fish right on the line. And depending on how clean the water is, we'll run back and forth.
And I understand that your specialty really is fly fishing.
Fly fishing, yes. We like to do the fly fishing. That's a big thing for me.
Really?
Chasing the redfish, especially with the fly rod.
A redfish with a fly rod.
Redfish with a fly rod.
Really?
And triple tail.
Man, I can't imagine.
During certain times of the year.
That'd be like catching a bull with a piece of string, wouldn't it?
It's fun. It's exciting.
Oh, well, that's
we
good.
sight fish for them too, so it's
sight fish. I don't know that I tell our viewers what that means.
Basically, you see them, you hunt him down. You know, you go to where you know they're going to be. You look for them. You find you one. Ease up. Put a bug in front of him. See if you can trick him into eating it, and then let the fun begin.
Good deal. What's the average size for redfish? I mean, I know they get up 30 plus inches or whatever, but
last year our average size that we were catching the most was around the 20 to 24 inch range. Perfect eating size. You know, it's perfect slot reds. You know, you got the slot on them in Mississippi, and they're pretty much everywhere. But
so what pound test do you use for that?
Well,
or is it the rod?
It's the rod. You can go by the weight of the rod and the line for the fly stuff. I mean, your pound test is in your leader and your tippet that you use, and we'll talk about all that. But generally, we throw an 8-weight rod. 8-weight line, floating line is our leader. We don't. I personally, everybody's different. Everybody has their own thing. Some people like throw an 8 foot, 9 foot leader, you know, 7 foot. I do a shorter leader on the redfish, and it tapers down from about a 40, 30 to 20 pound test.
Okay, the leader length, and I fly fish for brim and bass and things of that nature.
And see, that's a little different ball game than the redfish, though.
But
and the speckled trout, the way we fly fish for speckled trout and other species, the leader is different. You want a longer, lighter leader that they're not going to see, and you don't want them to see the fly line either.
Okay, I got you.
That's,
I got you.
You know, that's the main thing.
Part of the illusion.
That's part of the illusion, right? To make that bug look as natural.
Good deal. And just so you all know, when we get to the end of this, you know, we'll put Ty's information up where you can contact him and talk to him about a trip. This is not an advertisement. This is just one of the things that we talked about in our intro. That you know, we're gonna bring you. I'm back to saying you know again. I'm really trying to break that to everybody, but we will. We're trying to educate people that are interested in saltwater fly fishing. I mean, is there other things other than specks and reds? I mean,
oh yeah, anything that swims out there.
What's the biggest fish that you've ever caught on a fly rod, weight wise?
I don't know. I've never weighed actually, to be honest with you. But would it be probably a 28, 30 inch red?
Oh man, no, I've caught those on live shrimp, and that's a chore in itself just on a catfish rig that I usually use. I might cheat a little bit because I can't get a warm winch to go overboard out there.
Normally, I try to just keep what I need for dinner. If I'm going to keep one, put the rest of them back. You know.
Good deal.
I like to turn them back a lot.
Well, Ty and I
the trout, not so much. Sometimes I get a little mad at them. I like to. I like fish tacos a lot, and they make a good one.
I understand quite a cook too.
Oh, I fool with it a little bit.
Yeah, you sit there and say that, but I've cooked around Justin Wilson and some other people, and hands down, Ty Taylor has made absolutely the best boiled crawfish I've ever eaten my entire life. And we hope to catch him over a pot and a frying pan and see if we can bring you a couple of those recipes as well.
That'd be great.
Yeah, well, we'll get together.
You know what? In fact, I've got some fish in the cooler.
Really?
That we caught on a trip yesterday.
I
was lucky enough to keep a few of them. And
good deal. Well, we're at the camp. It's actually youth week for turkey season. Ty has his 10-year-old son Lloyd, and Lloyd's over in the corner being real quiet, and we appreciate that. And so anyway, they've been out chasing time so far. No luck. Going to try it again in the morning. So with that, also we got crappie season coming in. Going to be bringing you a little bit of video on some of that, talking to you some of the people that really know what they're doing. But let's get back to the fly fishing on the saltwater.
Okay.
So you brought some flies with you.
I did. I brought some things that I tie up that I am not a fly tie by no means. I'd fool with it, but they catch fish, so they're kind of raggedy looking right now because I just grabbed a box that I actually use, and these have been chewed on quite a bit. But I got a couple of deceivers right here, and I've caught everything on these deceivers from hardtails, the Spanish mackerel, ladyfish, bass. Bought a redfish with them a lot. Now these don't have any weight on them. They just naturally sink slow. So I'll fish with these for the reds in shallower water. But it mimics a bait fish. And here's
Do you tie any of your own flies?
Yeah, I tied all of these.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Really?
I tied
Okay.
all of these. Yeah, I tie most of my flies. Here's a very bad example of a gurgler. But it's a top water, and it has caught fish. It's caught quite a few fish. It's a great bass popper. It pops. Redfish will eat it. Now these here, these little shrimp, these dudes right here are my favorites. Especially coming up in the time of year it's getting to be. In spring, and late spring, and early summer, all throughout the summer actually. I'll take these shrimp flies. You can go to the islands, out at the barrier islands, and fish for the whiting, you know, and it doesn't have to be, you know, if you're in Orange Beach, Gulf Shores, you know, if you're on the east coast of Florida, west coast of Florida, whiting. Some people call them southern kingfish, I believe is the technical name.
Isn't it actually, I've always heard it was kin to the mullet family somehow or
No,
another?
it's a kin to ground mullet,
A ground mullet.
which is very different than what we call a Popeye mullet.
And I can say,
The jumping mullet,
I can say
totally different.
I can say from total experience, we have several, most of the guys in our camp are from the coast, and they catch a lot of whiting. We have an awful lot of fish fries here at the camp. And whiting gets a bad rap the way it's frozen and sold sometimes, because to me it's one of the best eating fish that you bought. You know,
You can do anything with it. You can saute it, grill it, blacken it, coat it with panko breadcrumbs, make you some little crunchy fish sticks and tacos. They're great just fried. They make a great fish sandwich. But the whiting love to eat sand fleas, and they feed for them in the surf. So what I like to do, now they'll also eat shrimp too, any kind of little crustacean. And we have an abundance of shrimp on the coast, obviously, sometimes. So I'll take these little shrimp flies I tie up, and these have been chewed on a bunch. And I'll tie them with craft fur. My legs are just plain silly legs that you can get at any kind of fly tying website or whatever. My eyes, I use cheap, heavy monofilament, at least 50, 60 pound test. And you take a lighter and you burn them down to make the eyeballs, and then you color them whatever color you want with fingernail polish or Sharpie. Little whiskers, you can use the monofilament also. But I'll use a lot lighter fly rod, like a 6-weight or 7-weight or even a 4-weight would be fine. But generally a 6 or 7, and you'll just walk the beach, stay back from the surf, and find the gullies, find where the whiting are feeding, and you can pitch these little sand flea flies or these little shrimp flies like that. You don't have to cast far. You don't have to make a 100-foot cast, like say if you're down in the Keys fishing for bonefish or carpet or whatever, or permit, where you got to cast. You got to be a champion caster, to do that. But you just make short little pitches out there and just let that shrimp just move with the current and the tide, and just kind of work him back in, and you'll feel the thump. And there he is. And you can just sit there and catch whiting on a fly rod all day.
So the makeup of these flies, I know that during deer season you were fortunate enough to kill a couple of pretty decent bucks, and you mentioned one time about deer hair and tying flies. Do we have any of that here?
Right here.
Really?
Oh yeah.
So what are that? Talk to us about that a little
That
bit.
chartreuse, all that is from a deer hair, tail hair.
So is that dyed?
Yes, it's dyed.
Okay.
Yes, you can dye it. You can dye it. There's some deer hair right there. You can dye it in your kitchen, actually. And it's real simple, It's basically you're cooking it, not at a super high temperature in the dye. It can be messy.
Well, you said kitchen, kitchen man guy, yeah.
You might want to go outside, do it.
All you ladies,
Craft fur. No.
forgive us and go outside and do
We
that.
use belly hair a lot too, and where's my little box right here? I got a couple crabs, I think, somewhere. Let me see if I got them in here. It's a really terrible looking crab. It's a goofy looking crab, but it has worked though. I used just feathers for his little claws, silly legs, but that is belly hair from a deer, and you spin it. And I am terrible at spinning hair, but I want to get better at it. But they catch fish, so I guess at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
It is all that matters.
But yeah, and here's a interesting example of spinning hair that I just got to playing around with one day. With some, I don't know what you call that, chenille and some silly legs. I made me a little worm. And maybe a head right there. I call it a marsh dragon. Out of belly hair. But this thing works great in the water because when it's standing there, that tail stands up and just dances, and you just bounce it along the bottom. So if you got a really finicky red that's not in a very aggressive mood, You put that in front of him a ways and just kind of bounce it towards him.
Right.
He's going to get really aggravated and he's going to eat it.
Just out of spite.
It works. It surprised me, but it works. But that was just goofing around, playing around. But time stuff is fun because you can be creative. You know, the possibilities you can come up with are endless. One of my favorites that I fish with is a Clouser minnow, which is a lot like the Deceiver right here, but it has dumbbell, what's called dumbbell eyes for weight, and it will swim in the water, hook up like that. And the Clouser is by far my favorite fly, and it's the most simple, but it's the most deadly too. It works. Okay. And you can also make a hybrid of this Deceiver and a Clouser, and I tie those a lot also. And
I'm going to assume, like I said, my fly fishing is limited to freshwater and mainly brown. But the names that you're using, that's a standard name in the fly fishing world. So
the Lefty Deceiver,
if we have
Clouser minnow,
if we have
Gurgler,
have a viewer out there that doesn't at this point want to go out and pay a guide or whatever, would just like to try this on his own, he could use those names and go where.
Oh yeah, you could go to any local fly shop and find those flies already tied and purchase them. You can buy them offline. Go to Bass Pro Shops in the fly shop there. They'll have a ton of them. Okay, cool. Depending on where you live, you know, their flies are kind of more localized or whatever.
Oh, sure. All right, well, I tell you what, we appreciate it. We're looking forward to getting in there a little bit and trying out some of that sheephead.
Yeah,
we'll try and catch you on video on that. And we get an opportunity one of these days, we're going to watch you clean one, get you to teach us how to do that.
Sounds great. Yeah.
And we appreciate y'all tuning in. Hope you'll listen to Ty's music, download some of that. Hope you'll also make sure to tell all your buddies about us and subscribe to our page and our YouTube and our Instagram and our Facebook and all that magic box stuff that I'm learning, guys, but you know, I hadn't quite got there yet. And we've got an awful lot of other stuff coming. I've been making a lot of good contacts. You know, we're looking at bringing in some ladies to talk to us about some of their hunting adventures and talk to some processors and getting real good feedback on people that want to be a part of this. We ask you to email me at oldboboutdoors@gmail.com. Got any questions, recommendations? Well, you know, some recommendations anyway. But anyway, we appreciate you taking the time to look at what we've got, and thank you for tuning in.
Let's go fishing too.
Absolutely.
It's always a great day to be tying one on.
Good deal. Well, as promised, we're here with Mr. Ty Taylor, or Captain Ty Taylor, one of his sheephead, and as you can see, these things are pretty good sized fish. And Ty's going to go through what we need to do to get him clean. He's got his handy dandy battery powered chainsaw there. So matter of fact, I'm going to back out of the shot and let him do what he does best, and we'll learn how to do it. It is a very tasty fish. So Ty, good luck.
All right. Yeah.
Hey, wait a minute. Count. Let me see your fingers. 5. Okay. All right. We'll check that when we get through.
Make sure we got them all. I'm gonna need them. All right, guys. We're gonna clean a sheephead here. I'm gonna take it slow with you, so we can go through it really well, discuss it. And this is just how I do it. There's tons of different ways to do it, but this is just the method I like to do. And before we get started, you know, let's talk about safety. Try not to cut towards your hands, which I might do sometimes. I might be guilty of. But try not to, at least. Best you can. These dudes are tough. They're tanks, so you really gotta work with what you got here. But wear a glove. Normally I would wear a chain-looking glove, but I forgot it. So working with what I got right here. Now what I like to do is I'll start right here behind the head, and I'll cut at an angle towards the head, and I'll just cut around that gill line down into the belly, like so. There's my first line I'm going to start with, right there. So that's started, okay? Now, if you come up here, I'm going to see if you can get it on camera good, and look, along this dorsal fin, the skin and the scales separate from the fin, and there's a little slit that stops right there. but it goes all the way down the dorsal fin, the back right there. So if you'll take your fillet knife and just kind of get started right there, you actually can turn it over. And I like to go this way first, and then cut up towards that line. It'll be slippery. It's about time to sharpen these blades. But boom, there you go, right there. So now you've got a line that you've started, and you can just work your way down that dorsal fin just like that until you get to the end of it. Then you'll turn the fish like this and go under, flip your knife around. Normally I wouldn't use an electric fillet knife on these, but what I have with me, cut them right there, cut out. All right, now you just take and follow that along the belly right here. Watch your arm, try not to cut your arm off. That's always a good thing. And then follow the rib cage. Get as close to that backbone and that rib cage as you can get. I don't know if you can see that, what I'm doing right there, but that's what I'm trying to do. Just like that. And he just zips right off of there. And if you'll take, make sure that's cut right there. Instead of having to cut through the ribs with the knife, because that'll really wear your blade down, if you'll just follow the rib cage right there, because you're not going to eat that anyway, but just follow that rib cage just like so. And you can even come there and cut that off. Boom, there you go. All that's got bones and that's belly meat right there. You're not going to want that. So now that I've done that, I'm going to take you off the skin just like this. There's my fillet. There's your skin. Now, these have little Y bones you got to watch for. You're going to find them right here along this lateral line, this blood line. So, normally when I clean sheephead, you know, people say, oh, you waste all the meat down there. It's really not that much you're wasting. But what I like to do is I'll take and I'll just cut that piece off right there like that. All right, but I'm going to keep it because I'm going to use that for something later on the night, and you're going to see what I use it for in the recipe. You know, try to keep and save as much as you can. But if you'll feel right here along this bloodline, you'll feel these little white bones right there. What I do, boom, cut that out. That goes in the trash. And there's your nice, beautiful, I call them a tenderloin, but a fillet of sheephead. Completely boneless. That is a fish po' boy right there. A fish sandwich, a fish taco, whatever you want it to be. Almondine. We're going to flip him over and do the exact same thing. Okay. Try to go a little slower this time for you. Make the cut right there. And just come right down along the backbone. Try not to get caught in the bones right there. But you got your line right here that you can work with. And this is why I don't like this table, because it's not the most level table. And I don't like electric fillet knives because they'll grab and jump. I've been cut way more with an electric fillet knife than I ever have a regular fillet knife. But if you are going to get one, this bubble blade is a good one. Anyway, we're just going to go right back down this backbone like this. Got that pre-cut line right there, remember? Just work your way down it. And then come. All right, we got our dude finished clean here. You can see what I do is I just cut around that rib cage right there, and I just leave all of that. It's got bones in it and all that, belly meat. By the time you clean it up, really not enough there worth fooling with, in my opinion, you know. But if you want to, you can. Waste not, want not. But he's see-through now, you know. So he's done. So he's nice and clean. Throw the rest of him in the gut bucket. And I'll show you. Just look how beautiful this meat is. Look how pretty. Right here, these fillets. I need to cut them Y bones out of that. Now, when you get ready to cook it, to make it even better, you can just take a really thin fillet knife, not an electric one, but I like using the little $9 Rapala knives that you can get at Academy or wherever, and just super sharp, and just come through. We'll do it with this knife though right now. Just try to cut as much of that red meat out as you can. Like that. And I do that with any fish, not just sheephead, but any fish, because that's what's going to give it the fishy taste, in my opinion, that people always talk about. That is as pure white meat as you're going to get right there. That is just, there's one of them white bones right there. And when you're cleaning them up, you'll feel them. You might miss one or something. Look, ain't nothing about it. Go ahead and cut it out just like that. There you go. We got some fillets here. We got a few more we're gonna clean. But sheephead they took a bad rep, you know, because they were tough to clean. You know, people, oh, they're tough to clean. They're really not that tough to clean. It's just putting in the work with them, which really isn't that much work at all. They're not a very bloody fish. And they're by far my favorite fish to eat inshore. They're my favorite inshore fish to eat. And there's so much you can do with them. A nice, firm, but yet flaky piece of meat right there. It's great. And that's how I like to clean sheephead. Electric fillet knife works. I highly recommend the cordless bubble blade with the 9-inch flex. Right there, as you can see, it flexes like a normal fillet knife, but any regular fillet knife will work as long as it's good and sharp. That's the key. I do like a more flexible blade as opposed to a stiffer blade. That way you can get along that backbone and really flex it and not lose too much meat along it. And that's how I like to clean sheephead. And you can actually do a redfish the same way. They have that same little separation between the dorsal fin and the back right there. And we didn't fish redfish yesterday, so I don't have one to show you. But we will next time, though. We'll get the fly rod out and get out on the beaver tail and catch a couple redfish for the box, and we'll do a redfish video also. And that's it.
All right, Ty, so what we've done now is we're going to post the recipe so everybody can see how we got to this point. But what you're doing now is you're taking all your vegetables.
I've softened them. I've cooked them down to where they're just soft. And then I added my fish that I boiled and let cool and flaked up.
Okay, so you're just gently...
And just gently kind of folding it around, starting it around there just for a minute or two. Not too long, you know.
Well, it smells awesome.
And then we're going to put it in a bowl and mix it in with the rest of our ingredients and make some cakes. And
great. Well,
let it roll.
We'll let you cook that down, and then we'll pick you back up when you get ready to make your cakes.
Info. All right, now that we got all of our ingredients combined, the amount of breadcrumbs you're going to use is going to depend on how wet the mixture is. You want to get it to where you can make a ball with it like that. So maybe start out with a half a cup, quarter of a cup, maybe. It just depends, like I said. And add as needed until you can get it into a ball. You know, make a ball about the size of your fist. It's going to be messy. That's okay. It's the fun part. And mix that together and just roll it and roll it. And then make a patty out of it. Just a hamburger sized patty, basically.
Can I help, Daddy?
So now that we got our patty formed, come over here and we'll set it on a tray, like so. Maybe do a little more shaping on it if you want. Depends on how pretty you want them to look, you know.
Well, that looks kind of unhappy. I mean, it's got a crown on the bottom, a couple of eyes. And of course, it's fixing to get thrown in 400-degree hot grease.
That is true.
Yeah.
350 to 375 to be exact, but
cool. All right, tell you what, we'll let you go ahead and make up your patties, and we'll we'll get back whenever you get ready to get the grease hot.
That sounds great. And then we're gonna make a little sauce to go with this. I'm gonna do probably another half a cup of mayo. Just kind of eyeball it. It doesn't have to be an exact science.
So this is additional ingredients other than what we've got on the recipe for the...
Yeah, there's just going to be a couple additional ingredients, and that's only going to be horseradish and hot sauce.
Gotcha.
So I'm going to do about maybe a couple teaspoons of this Dijon mustard. If it will come out, if it'll cooperate with me. There we go. That one. About like that. Take a little, about a teaspoon of this horseradish. You don't need a lot, but a little bit more won't hurt because I like it a little spicy. I like a kick to mine. The juice of you can use a whole lemon, half a lemon. It depends on how lemony you want it. We'll start out with a half. Let's see how wet that makes it. That's a juicy lemon. We're not going to need any more than that right there. Some lemons are a little juicier than others, and this was one of those guys right there. What you can do with your other half a lemon, maybe is squeeze it on your crab cake if you don't want to use this sauce. Fresh. Squeeze a lemon. Got a straggler right there. And we're just going to kind of mix this up. It doesn't look too appetizing right now, but it will get there, I promise. And just blend that nice and smooth together. Add you a little dash of hot sauce. Again, this is going to be to taste, however you like it. I like a lot of taste with the hot sauce. So, I like the spice myself. And about half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of Old Bay. You can't accent the Old Bay enough when it comes to making cakes. And we're gonna cover this up and stick it in the fridge and let it chill out for a little while our crab cakes are chilling out in the freezer. After you make up the patties, you can take and stick them in the fridge for an hour or two, let them chill, or stick them in the freezer for about 30 minutes, just to let them kind of chill out and mold together good. And you can do the same with this and just stick it in the fridge and let it chill out and everything blend together good until it is ready to go. Alright. And you sprinkle that over your crab cake. Boy, that's going to be fine right there, man. It's going to be good.
Ooh, you see what I'm doing? Yes, yeah, that'll be good, yeah. Well, I'm not full bleed. Matter of fact, I'm not even half bleed, but I am quarter bleed.
There you go.
So, yeah. Putting that Old Bay in, talking about how much it go a long way. It remind me of Cajun guy told me one time, he said, it don't take too many of them to make a dozen, no.
That's right. It don't. And that's it for your little sauce to go with it.
All right, well, we'll be back shortly and we'll throw them in a frying pan.
All right, we've been letting our dudes chill out in the freezer for a little while, about 20-30 minutes. And as you can see, it's nice and patty-like. And in the meantime, I heated up some butter, a couple tablespoons of butter, a couple tablespoons of oil, just enough to cover the bottom good, in a cast iron skillet, and we're gonna let her rip.
That sounds good.
And that's the sound you're looking for right there. And as you're frying them, as you pull them out, the freezer, you know, fit as many as you can in the pan at a time. This pan's pretty tight for room. We could do about 3. Make sure they don't stick. That's another big thing you look for. Don't let them stick. But we're going to do about 3 at a time here. Grab me one more from back here. Grab one of the smaller ones. It's going to fit just fine. And it doesn't hurt to always kind of reform a little bit. And while those are cooking, we'll stick the rest of them in the freezer. Let them keep chilling out, hanging out together, getting nice and pretty.
And how long is it going to take to cook this one side?
I just kind of eyeball it as it gets brown up the side, then I'll flip it, because you know everything's done in there except for the egg already.
Right.
Everything's cooked basically, so not too long. Because it's kind of getting brown, you can kind of move it around to keep it from sticking.
Okay, well, we'll come back when you flip them.
That'll work. Okay, so it's been about 3-4 minutes, something like that. So now we're gonna take and just flip that around. We might have to reflip that one because one side did not want to get brown. And that might have something to do with this eye of the stove, but hey, we can always reflip it. You're cooking, you can do what you want to do.
And we are at the hunting camp, so
That's right, we don't have the most high-tech technology. Now see, that one looks like you want it to look right there. That's what you want them to look like when you flip them. So we're going to let these go for another 3 to 4 minutes on each side, on this other side. And this guy is good too. He is. Oh yeah.
All right, we'll come back when you're ready to take them out.
They're going to be nice and juicy and tasty and crunchy on the outside. Alright, so now these dudes are basically, they're ready. So what I like to do is use kind of the finger test. They're nice and brown. My oil's getting too hot. I don't know what that eye is doing. But you want to touch them, you know, and if they feel, when they get a little firm, they're ready. And they're nice and brown along the outside. That one got really brown. And for some reason the side of that eye is not cooking right, but it doesn't matter. So you're just gonna flip them, pull them out. When they're nice, they feel a little firm, but they're still kind of soft to the touch, they're ready. And keep in mind, we are cooking at the hunting camp, so.
Well, just like the Native Americans, we're using everything's available to us,
That's
including
right.
an electric range.
That's
So
right.
is frying the only option?
No, you can actually bake these in the oven also, but what you're gonna do is put them on like a baking sheet with a broiler rack, like some kind of rack, so that heat can circulate on both sides of it. And there you go. One's a little burnt. We'll get some.
That's all right. That's what we made the sauce for.
That's right.
All right. Well, we'll be back when it's all ready to go.
We're gonna plate us up a couple of them right here. I think these two dudes right here look nice. It really doesn't matter. They all taste the same. And we're gonna put a little sauce on them. And what you can do, you don't have to do this. You can put it on the side, but I like to just spread a little over the top. And there you go. It's not the prettiest presentation in the world, but it's gonna eat.
Ever made a sandwich one?
I have. They make a great po' boy, like a crab sandwich. You can even throw a slice of like white American cheese on top of it, or provolone. Make you a nice pressed crab po' boy with some lettuce, tomato, a pickle. You can even use that sauce on it too.
That sounds good. Well, we appreciate you taking the time to do this. Catch the fish, clean the fish, cook the fish, And now, if you don't mind, I'm gonna help you eat the fish.
That'll work. That's what it's all about right there.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and I think I finally got Hewley situated since he's got to pay the money back since he couldn't seem to find the squirrel corn. And I hate to do any have more turkey videos, but I moved off the coast down here where somehow I'd subscribed to the Hurricane of the Month Club to move here in central or east central Mississippi, where apparently I have accepted, acknowledged, or agreed to join the Tornado of the Week Club. Right here in the middle of turkey season and crappie season, and we are just getting hammered with these storms. And so our opportunities have been limited. But we appreciate you. We thank you. We look forward to next time. And whatever you do, thank God every day that you get an opportunity to live the wildlife.